I can't believe these niggas lost. These fools. This is the shit I got to deal with. You see what I'm saying? Like, nigga, I expect you to win. I leave you winning and you lose? Nigga, no. No. Hell no. Like, get her done. Get her done.
Kids and parents feel a little bit more safer, extra security. I would say that that's wrong. Why? Because if they're being safe, if they're wearing their
I even try.
in their hands,
Give me that shit.
that should be enough, because I don't think that they should have to get something in their body just to go to work. The government makes it safer. It makes that the parents actually, and not the parents, but the teachers and the staff are doing the best for the kids are coming to school. And if I'm vaccinated and if she's vaccinated, we would like the teachers to be vaccinated.
Now, those are actually parents that you heard from just now. I was speaking to them as they were dropping their kids off at school today, and most of the parents that I spoke to, they responded to this positively as well. Of course, whenever people hear the words vaccine and mandate in a sentence these days, there is going to be some controversy. There's likely going to be some pushback, and I did speak to one mother who thought that this was a step too far, Allison. But here's the deal, looking forward, I mean, teachers and staff, that includes everyone from school bus drivers, school volunteers, coaches, anyone who's going to be interacting with students on campuses in the state of California. They have to comply with this and be in full compliance by October 15th. I just spoke to the governor's office about how enforcement of this would work, and they said that while this is a public health order that comes from the California Department of Public Health, it's really going to be up to local jurisdictions, local agencies, to actually make sure that this is enforced. So that could look like consequences for teachers who refuse to comply with this. There could be disciplinary actions, and yes, that even includes the possibility of termination.
All right, Simone Boyce in Pasadena, where I still can't believe it is the first day of school already. Thank you so much.
In 30 minutes. Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day. Today all day. For breaking news in our changing world. Download the NBC News app.
And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news.
The Meet the Press Chuck Todd Cast. Free wherever you get your podcasts. Our world is facing some big challenges. Chuck Todd breaks them down. A deep dive into a new topic. Instead of covering all the big stories, we're going to cover one single subject impacting American politics. Exploring and explaining the critical issues that affect our future. Meet the Press Reports. All episodes of Season 2 are now available.
One giant leap forward in the space race.
So speaking very clear, this is the first step of many.
All me, baby. All me.
We feel would make it harder for Texas voters to cast their ballot. The issue here is not that vaccines aren't available. They say the issue is that people are choosing not to get vaccinated. We have a team of correspondents covering this breaking story for us today.
This is NBC News Now. Streaming free 24/7.
Hang it.
Defending from him. Pressing in possession.
Let's go to NBC News now. Correspondent Issa Gutierrez has headlines for us from NBCNews.com. Hey, Issa.
Hey, Allison. Happy Thursday. We're going to start with the latest on a lawsuit against allies of former President Trump. A federal judge ruling a defamation case by Dominion Voting Systems to proceed against Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, and MyPillow founder Mike Lindell. The election equipment manufacturer is suing the three men for repeatedly making false and unfounded claims the company rigged the 2020 presidential election. Bill Gates is offering a major investment into the environment. The Microsoft co-founder pledging $1.5 billion towards climate change projects if Congress passes the Senate's bipartisan infrastructure bill. Gates saying the money would be
that was a sloppy pass.
years on initiatives to lower greenhouse gas emissions, including zero emissions clean fuel. In New York City, a Taiwanese man was sentenced to 6 years in prison for a multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. The 25-year-old admitted to defrauding a program that was set up to help small businesses stay afloat during the pandemic. Authorities say he received nearly...
Oh, come on!
After claiming he had over 200 workers when he only had about 14. At least 1 million...
He got a hat trick off my hard work.
Tennessee State University working to get students vaccinated as they return to campus. Tennessee has barred all public colleges.
I don't even want to see that shit.
But the school offers students...
I mean, that's awesome, but still, that's fucked up.
Students who get their shots through one of the campus vaccination sites will also receive a $100 gift card and an additional $50 gift card if they live on campus. And the odds of an asteroid the size... $50 gift card if they live on campus. And the odds of an asteroid the size of the Empire State Building hitting Earth are higher than previously thought. But don't worry, that's still a 1 in 1,750 chance asteroid bending.
They better not lose if they take me out.
And NASA says if it did happen, it would likely not be in this century. I don't know about you, Allison, but that still freaks me out. I'm not a big space, black holes, asteroids gal, but we'll have to trust the scientists on this one.
Ethan, you and our director Rob who's saying in my ear right now, uh-oh, we're in trouble. So yeah, I think more than a few people a little concerned about this one. Let's hope we're okay. Thank you so much.
These data provide the first look at the demographic characteristics of the nation by state, county, city, down to the individual census block, and show how by state, county, city, down to the individual census block, and show how
10 years. The Census Bureau releasing its 2020 data.
Come on, man.
States will use to redistrict.
That was horrible, man.
NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki is at the big board. Steve, it's awesome to see you. All right, so this data could set off the most hectic, contentious redistricting. It's awesome to see you. All right, so this data could set off the most hectic, contentious redistricting cycle ever. And I know nobody gets fired up about redistricting like you do, so hit us with the big takeaways from this census data.
Yeah, let's take a look here, Allison. Every 10 years we really get these numbers, and they kind of last for the next 10 years. We'll be staring at them for the next 10 years. Hey, it's sort of numbers that define our country. Let me take you through the big picture. First of all, the U.S. population sits now just about 331 million. And I wanted to show you how things have been changing. Because again, we get this readout every 10 years. We get a readout of racial...
Yeah, take me out.
Like this every 10 years. So
suck it.
2 censuses ago. This is 2000.
And I know they won.
The country was almost 70% white. You could see about 12%.
They better have.
Like
I'm gonna be mad as shit at my teammates.
10 years ago, this is how much things changed in the first 10 years.
That's right.
There's 64% a growing Hispanic population, a growing Asian population. So the question
Let's see how tired I am.
How much more would things have changed when it comes to these demographic categories?
Not bad.
Changed a lot more than people were expecting. Take a look at this.
What's the record?
Now the new census, the numbers out today.
What is the record?
Not only is it under 60%, it's well under 60%, 57.8% white.
Yeah.
The Hispanic population continues to grow. That's nearly 20% now, getting close to 20%. The Hispanic population. The black population is pretty level. And the Asian American population, it continues to grow, now basically at 6%. So the diversification of America is continuing. The overall population is not growing at that fast of a rate. It's actually the second slowest 10-year period.
Man, this nigga got
in this country ever, but the diversity within
catching up and shit.
Big story. We can just show you. You mentioned redistricting, what it means. These are the states, you see them here, where the population grew the most and that are gaining. These are House seats here. Texas is going to get 2 more House seats. They're going to have 38 House seats. They had 36 for the 10 years before this. The only state gaining more than 1 seat is Texas. You see Florida, North Carolina. These are the other states gaining seats. A lot of these Republican seats, so that goes into that question of redistricting. And these are the states that are taking a hit, where the population either shrank or just didn't grow that fast. They're actually going to lose clout in Congress. California, first time ever, California's going to lose a seat in the House. New York, Illinois, Pennsylvania. Again, a lot of these are blue states. That's one of the factors, Allison, that goes into this when you say redistricting. Could this affect balance of the House next year? Republicans only need next year to gain 5 seats. If you take a look, here's the map. These are, I know there's a lot of confusing colors here. Where you see red, though, that's where Republicans get to set the rules, get to draw the maps. Where you see blue, that's where Democrats get to be. Where you see purple, that's kind of a mix, a commission, an independent commission, that kind of thing. And again, the opportunity, look, Texas, 38 seats, 2 new seats. Republicans draw the maps. That's an opportunity for Republicans right there.
I got you, Baba. Ooh, too much.
North Carolina, Georgia, those are all opportunities for Republicans. Again, they need to pick up 5 seats next year. Republicans get the House. Democrats, they don't have as many opportunities, but if they want to do the same thing with, they call it gerrymandering, Democrats could do it in Illinois, Democrats could do it in New York, potentially, so there are opportunities for Democrats if they're so inclined to try to offset it there. But again, we're at a point here, control of the House is so close, how the maps are drawn in any one of these big states could make all the
Don't let him shoot.
It's a slim margin. We could see a whole lot of changes. Steve Kornacki, always great to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Allison.
Our first responsibility has always been protecting the safety and the security of our citizens serving in Afghanistan and around the world.
The United States warning American citizens in Afghanistan to leave the country as the Taliban continues to steamroll its way towards Kabul. NBC News Pentagon correspondent Courtney Cubey joins us now from...
Yeah, I need to pass better, guys. Come on, man.
Dangerously close to the U.S. Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, the headline is the U.S. is sending 3,000 infantry troops back into Kabul. And they're going to have a pretty narrow mission, and that is they're going to support and secure the evacuation of U.S. civilians who are working at the embassy there in Kabul, and then they will support the evacuation of some of the Afghans who are eligible for the special immigrant visa process. You well know, Allison, we've been talking about this for weeks. These are Afghans who've been working for the U.S. government for the special immigrant visa process. You well know, Allison, we've been talking about this for weeks. These are Afghans who've been working for the U.S. government in some capacity who may be eligible to come to the United States on this special visa. But 3,000 is a lot of troops. They're sending them in, and in addition to going into there'll be another 3,500 to 4,000
score, bruh,
forward to Kuwait from Fort Bragg, and they will be on standby in case the security situation at Kabul airport deteriorates further and they need to be brought in. Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby spoke about this at the briefing, and he talked very specifically about this narrow focus. Here's what he had to say.
Come on, that was a horrible corn. Cross like that, Colt. What's wrong with you, child?
Facilitate an accelerated process of working through SIV applicants. This is a temporary mission with a narrow focus. As with all the of our troops into harm's way, our commanders have the inherent right of self-defense, and any attack on them can and will be met with a forceful and an appropriate response.
You know, and John Kirby, they're talking about how they have the inherent right of self-defense. This is not a permissive environment, Allison. So there is this, despite the fact that this is not necessarily a combat mission that these troops are going in for, they have the potential to be in dangerous situations. I should also point out that there's another 1,000 U.S. troops, mainly Army and Air Force, who are going to be part of a special task force that's going into Qatar, and they'll be working on the more administrative side of processing some of these special immigrant visa applicants when they leave Afghanistan. So the announcement today, thousands of U.S. troops being now...
Oh, let's go.
to support the withdrawal from Afghanistan, Allison.
Courtney, the Biden administration is taking a whole lot of
That's what I like.
right now. I mean, critics are blaming the U.S. troop withdrawal. Here's what Republican Senator Tom Cotton, a member of the Armed Services Committee, told Fox News.
It goes to show the kind of slapdash, disorganized planning that went into this withdrawal. And it raises real questions about President Biden's plan to defend our #1 interest in Afghanistan, which has been for 20 years, to prevent it from becoming a safe haven for terrorists that they can use to strike against the United States or our citizens around the world.
Courtney, whatever your politics are, it's hard not to look at this and think, my goodness.
I did not want that ball back, bud. That was for you to shoot.
The head of Central Command, what did he tell you?
Yeah, that's right. And I specifically asked him about exactly what Senator Cotton was just talking about, and that is what happens after the U.S. leaves. It's no surprise that the Taliban, they have this offensive that's been ongoing now for several months. What's been so surprising about this, though, is that how quickly they've been able to
gentlemen,
and not just the more rural parts of the country, but the area into major cities. Kandahar City in the south, one of the largest in the country. It is about to fall if it has not fallen already. Kunduz, Ghazni, just outside of Kabul. I mean, we're talking, 80 or so miles outside of Kabul. The Taliban have been able to move into these areas quickly and take them even faster than expected. When I talked to General McKenzie about that in Kabul last month, I said, well, what happens afterwards? When the Taliban, if they take over this country, what about the Al-Qaeda presence there? And he was very candid about it, saying, look, he has no confidence that the Taliban will stop Al-Qaeda from regrowing and regenerating
yes, ma'am.
the country, and then they will continue